Hey everyone, Joe here. Well, today I got 10 reasons you may want to consider purchasing the Canon 80D over the Canon Rebel T6s. Now, number one reason is better build quality. Now, the Canon 80D has a dust and moisture resistance, whereas the Canon T6s doesn't. Now, don't be confused, dust and moisture resistance doesn't mean water and airtight. But for those who do want to keep the camera a little bit more healthier, kind of carried out in humid environments, a little dusty environments, the Canon 80D is going to hold up a lot better, over the Canon T6s. Okay. Number two is better battery life. It is pretty obvious that the Canon 80D, the body is just slightly bit bigger than the Canon T6s. Well, good thing is you can fit a little bit bigger battery in there. So the Canon 80D actually gets you 1,390 photos, what they're rating it as. Over the Canon T6s is only rated about 550 photos on a full charge. Okay. Number three reason, 1, 2, 3. The Canon 80D has 1% pentaprism viewfinder, whereas the Canon T6s has only 95% coverage and is a pentamirror. The difference is the pentaprism can be a little bit brighter, a little bit, a little bit nicer to look through. It's not noticeable for most folks, but there is a little bit of difference. You can tell the pentaprism just looks a little bit nicer over the pentamirror. Like I said, the pentamirror can seem a little darker. Ain't huge, but the difference is there. The big difference is now that Canon 80D has 100% coverage, so what you see in that viewfinder is what you get in the photo. Whereas with the 95% coverage, you may think you got it cropped in just the way you want it, but when you pull it up in Lightroom, you realize you got to crop some things out. Okay, number 4. The Canon 80D can shoot 7 frames per second, whereas the Canon T6s can only shoot 5 frames per second. 2 frames per second more isn't noticeable for most folks, but those who are probably shooting like sports, games, for the or even just kids' local football game, 7 frames per second is going to add up just a little bit better, and plus the focusing system is just a little bit faster. Okay, number 5. Okay, the Canon 80D has a faster shutter speed, and faster shutter speed is 1/8,000th of a second over the 1/4,000th of a second found in the T6s. Now, with the faster shutter speed, you also have a faster sync speed. So the Canon 80D can do 1/250th of a second, whereas the Canon T6s can only do 1/200th of a second. And the reason this is the Canon 80D has both first and second shutter is fully mechanical, whereas the Canon T6s, the first shutter is actually electronic, whereas the second shutter is mechanical. Okay, number 6. Number 6 here is the Canon 80D has 45-point AF system, whereas the Canon T6s carries on the Canon 70D's focusing system at only 19 point. Now, the 45 points, 19 point may not be that big of a deal for most folks. Most folks will shoot with just a center focusing square, but the 45 points does provide a little bit more coverage across the viewfinder, which a lot of folks will actually find very helpful. Okay, continuing on with the focusing system at number 7 here. You have dual pixel AF system in the Canon 80D, whereas the Canon T6s has the hybrid AF3 system. While the hybrid AF3 system is a big improvement over the previous one, it still does not compete with the dual pixel AF system found in both the 70D and the 80D, as well as the 70D Mark II. That dual pixel AF system works great, not only for video, but for stills also. It's, like I said, it's not as fast as the viewfinder, that 45-point system, but it's very, very accurate. And when the AF system, locks on, that dual pixel AF system locks on to you, it stays locked onto you when you're moving around and stuff. Okay. Number 8 here. Yeah. 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay. The biggest thing when you go to these higher end bodies like the 80D versus the T6s is you get micro focus adjustments. Micro focus adjustment is huge. So, for example, if you get a Canon Rebel camera and you go out and you start taking some photos, you're realizing, hey, you're taking photo of it here, but it's focusing on something else up here. Or you'll notice you may be taking photos of somebody's face instead of their eyes being in focus, the back of their hair is. And micro focus adjustments will actually let you correct that on a per lens basis. Whereas if you get a Canon T6s or any of the Rebel series cameras, you have to send the camera in and they adjust the entire camera for that particular lens, which is a bummer because you can't have individual adjustments for each lens. So if you have just one lens that's out of whack just a little bit, the Canon 80D, you can correct it for just that lens, whereas the Canon T6s, you actually got to send the entire camera in and have it adjusted. So there is no micro focus adjustments for the T6s. So anybody that's going to go professional or even just semi-pro, micro focus adjustment is a huge thing. Okay, number 9. Yeah, 4 plus 5, 9. Okay, the Canon 80D now can do 60p at 1080. So 60 frames per second shooting video may not seem really that big because most folks probably want to shoot at 30p anyway. But for anybody trying to get a little bit more slower video, slow-mo and stuff, 60p is there. It's really going to help. Okay, number 10, and this is the big thing that just hit on the Canon 80Ds, versus even the 70D or the Canon T6, T6i, T6s, all the other Rebel cameras, is now Canon has finally included a headphone jack. Yes, a headphone jack. That's a really big thing. So now you can monitor the audio in your camera that you're piping into the camera, which is a big thing. So if you're trying to adjust your volumes and stuff, get all that audio correctly, at least now you have a way of monitoring it in camera. Okay, now just to cover a few things that these the T6s and the Canon 80D both do share. Both are 24 megapixel, obviously, but keep in mind the sensor in the Canon 80D is a new sensor. It's not the same sensor in the T6s. Of course, they're both Digix 6 and are both APS-C. But other than that, that's pretty much where the comparison really ends. They can both go up to ISO 25,600. But the native ISO on the Canon 80D goes up to about 16,000 or something like that, whereas the Canon T6s only goes to 12,800. Those are a few minor things. I'm not really worried too much about that, but I thought these top 10 things, a lot of people will find more important and be something they consider when purchasing the 80D over the T6s. Anyway, that's it for this video, everyone. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do, how about a thumbs up? Thumbs is always highly appreciated. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, be sure to subscribe. Subscribe is free, it's for you, and let you know when I release more videos. Until next time, everyone, thank you for watching.